I was talking to you recently, and you said you don't really look at your movies and things, and here we're forcing you to look this close, KIEFER.
No, I didn't. I didn't look up at all.
Oh.
But hearing it, we shot this. We didn't shoot it like a play, but I certainly had to learn the dialogue like a play. The schedule was only 2 weeks to make this film. I shot the first testimony in 2 parts because of a blocking issue, and we shot the second testimony, entrance to exit, in 1 take.
It was like 28 minutes?
28 minutes, and it was seven cameras, which I can go on about kind of the artistry of William Friedkin. You see what the camera sees, but what I'm looking at are 7 cameras all in motion at the same time. And it was like looking into the innards of a Swiss watch. And it was perfect, and it was like a ballet. And so easily can you be distracted, but not one grip accidentally bumped into a focus puller. Not one camera was ever blocked by another camera. It was seamless. And the mind that can create that kind of camera blocking is obviously one of the great directors of all time, and that was William Friedkin.
Yeah, well, The French Connection, The Exorcist, Sorcerer, To Live and Die in LA, on and on and on. And when you talk about all those cameras, he really is a master of knowing where to put the camera, when to put it. That really helps the actor's performance.
Well, it helps immensely. And you might not always be aware of what he's doing. For instance, I was not as aware when we were making the film as I was certainly when I saw it, that the first testimony, the cameras and the lenses he chose were much closer. And the second testimony, the cameras were back a little farther, and all to create the illusion that I'm getting smaller in the chair. And so he's incredibly helpful. I certainly worked on physicality to try and accomplish the same thing. But he was using his cameras not just as a way to kind of show you an image, but he's actually contributing to the storytelling by where he's putting the cameras and how he's using those lenses.
And so what happened? How did you get cast in this? Did he called you up and out of the blue and said, I want you to play a role that Humphrey Bogart made famous?
No, but it was kind of fantastic. It was very, very old school. There were no agents involved, there were no managers involved, and yes, he did just call me up. And just to let you know why this story would kind of be kind of funny, is William Friedkin was responsible for me. I was working as a theater actor. I was only 15, 16 years old in Toronto, Canada. My mother was a great theater actor. It's the community I grew up in, and I was very dedicated to that was the actor that I wanted to be. And I went and saw The French Connection when I was 15. I didn't know anything about the film. And my response to it was so visceral, and the film was so honest and aggressive. And then obviously the performances of Roy Scheider and Gene Hackman would have affected any young actor. And I left that theater that day knowing that I wanted to make films. I wanted to make films like that. And it had a profound change in my life. To Live and Die in LA, you mentioned, was another film that was one of my favorites. And so I've respected this man incredibly. And so I get a phone call one day, and I don't recognize the number, but I answer it anyways. And it's a guy on the other end says, hi, my name's William Friedkin, and I would like to talk to you about, and I hung up. and I thought it was one of my friends making a joke. And then about 2 minutes go by, and I'm like, that doesn't sound like any of my friends. And then about 2 more minutes go by, and I'm like, my friends aren't that smart. Oh, shit. And I called the number back, and he was laughing on the other end. He said, I didn't think you'd call back this fast. And he was generous enough to ask me to do this film, and I was absolutely honored. And it was also very sweet. He went on to kind of give me a couple explanations as to why he thought I should do it. And I'd already agreed to do it once I realized it was really him. Yeah.
And it's so good, you know, Bogart was great, such a memorable thing. This is completely different, Annabelle. This is a different take, and really you see a different side of Gleek. I find him to be a sad character in this, you know, it's almost sad to watch what he does, and you do it so brilliantly here. But how did this project come about with Brecon? How did you decide to make this?
It was Billy all along, and he just brought me along for the ride. I knew him, and he said he wanted to do this piece with Herman Wouk, and then in the same breath, and KIEFER Sutherland is going to play Captain Krieg. It was his first choice, always his only choice. And it came together fairly quickly, and we were really lucky that Billy was able to get a great crew and an unbelievable cast, and he just knew he had the film in his head from the very beginning. But he really wanted there to be ambiguity around Queeg. He felt that in the earlier version, you knew exactly what was happening, and he knew that KIEFER had this long, slow fuse that could sort of unravel as things went on, and that was super important to him. He wanted the audience to be figuring it out as they went along.
And we saw some of the actors in this, Matt. You put together a terrific cast ensemble overall. That was Jason Clark interrogating you, and that was Jake Lacey, and on. Talk about how you brought them all together to do this in such a short amount of time, too.
Well, it's easy. It was all our casting director, our fabulous casting director, Denise Chamian, who I've never worked with a casting director like her, and she was able to get anybody on the phone that we wanted and give us options, kind of that she pulled out of the woodwork, and it was really amazing to